Welcome to the Wise Guides. I'm Evie. I'm your host, and I'm also a first-gen professional with over a decade of experience in corporate HR. I'm here to provide you with practical guides on how to increase your wealth and your happiness at work. Whether you're feeling like an imposter in that new job, juggling a million responsibilities, or just trying to get your foot in the door, this is your space to find real, no BS advice, hear from people who have already been there, and maybe even laugh a little along the way. So grab your coffee or your glass of wine, settle in, and let's dive into today's topic. You are exactly where you need to be. Today we're diving into a topic that I know a lot of us struggle with, feeling invisible at work, and how to build a personal brand that makes you stand out. Maybe you've been putting in the work, hitting your targets, and still you feel like nobody notices. Well, you're not alone. But here's the thing, simply working hard isn't enough. You've got to build your personal brand to really get noticed, especially if you're feeling like you're being overlooked. Today, we're going to talk about why personal branding is critical, how to start crafting yours, and practical ways to boost your visibility. So let's dive in. First things first, why does personal branding even matter? I thought those were just things that companies needed. You may think that if you keep doing good work, somebody will eventually notice. And while doing your job well is important, visibility is just as crucial. A personal brand is what people think of when they hear your name. It's the consistent image, the message, and the values that you present at work that show who you are and what you stand for. As first-generation professionals, we often feel pressure to blend in. We don't want to rock the boat, we don't want to call too much attention to ourselves, and we're not really used to self-promotion. But here's the hard truth. If you don't build a personal brand at work, something else or someone else will define it for you, and you might not like the result. So why is it so hard for us, especially as first-generation professionals? Maybe your family taught you to be humble or to keep your head down or just to work hard. You might even feel like self-promotion is uncomfortable or it's braggy, and I get it. There's also the imposter syndrome factor, the feeling like you don't belong or that you're not good enough to put yourself out there. So instead we blend in. We do what's expected, we keep our heads down, and then we wonder why others, who maybe aren't even performing at our levels, are getting the opportunities, the recognition, and the promotion. It feels unfair, right? But what those people might be doing is intentionally building their personal brand. And the good news is you can do it too, and you can do it without losing your authenticity. Okay, so how do we actually go about building a personal brand when you feel like you're invisible at work? The first is to know your value. You want to start building your personal brand when you understand what makes you valuable. This means taking into account what your strengths are, what your skills are, what your accomplishments are. What do you bring to the table that others don't? Maybe you're great at problem solving, or maybe you have a unique ability to bring people together for collaboration. Whatever it is, start by writing it down. It might feel a little bit awkward, but this is your foundation. You can take many assessments that are already out there to figure out what some of your top strengths are. For example, the Gallup Strength Finders assessment is a great place to start. Number 2 is decide what you want to be known for. Think about these strengths, these qualities, these skills. Think about all the things that you're already great at. Which one of them do you want to be known for at work? Do you want to be seen as a strategic thinker, the leader, the go-to person for creative ideas, the collaborator, the team player, etc.? Once you decide what you want your brand to be, you can start by showing up with that mindset. For example, if you want to be seen as a leader, start acting like that in meetings by offering thoughtful suggestions and by stepping up for responsibilities. One of my favorite tips here is start with a personal mission statement. This doesn't have to be complicated. It's just a simple sentence or two that sums up exactly how you want to be seen. For example, I help teams work more efficiently by focusing on clear communication and collaboration. This then becomes your guiding star. Number 3 is find opportunities to shine. Look for opportunities to highlight those skills in ways that can align with your brand. For example, if you're great at public speaking, but nobody at work knows that, offer to present during a team meeting or lead a training session. Or if you're known for being highly organized, take the initiative on a project that requires detailed planning. And here's a pro tip. Don't wait for somebody to hand you these opportunities. Create them. Number 4, communicate your wins. This is a big one, especially for those of us who aren't used to self-promotion. Many of us who even thought that it was a bad thing. You have to get comfortable with sharing your accomplishments, and not in a boastful way, but in a matter-of-fact, confident type of way. For example, If you complete a big project successfully, don't just hand it off quietly. Send a recap email to your manager and team by summarizing what you achieved and the impact that you had in it. You could say something like, I'm happy to report that we completed the project 2 days ahead of schedule, saving the team 10 hours of work. You're not bragging, you're sharing the value that you brought to the team. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty. I know you're probably thinking, well, that all sounds great, but how do I actually do this without actually feeling like I'm bragging? Here are some practical tactics that you can apply to boost your visibility while keeping it authentic. First is taking initiative in meetings. Meetings are a great place to increase your visibility, but they can also be intimidating. Here's a trick. Before the meeting, review the agenda, think of 1 or 2 points that you can bring up to contribute. Even if you're not the one running the meeting, showing up prepared with thoughtful input will get you noticed. Try saying something like, I think we could solve this issue by approaching it from this angle. What do you all think? This shows that you're engaged, you're proactive, and you're thinking strategically. Number 2 is volunteer for cross-functional departments. You heard me clearly. I said volunteer. Cross-functional departments are a gold mine for building your brand. They allow you to network with people outside of your immediate team and to demonstrate your skills to a broader audience. If your company is looking for volunteers for a task force or a new initiative, raise your hand. You'll get the exposure to new people and it gives you the chance to show your skills in action. 3 is leverage LinkedIn. If you're not leveraging LinkedIn yet, it's time to start today. It's not just about job searching. LinkedIn is a great place to build your personal brand. Start by sharing articles that are related to your industry. Engage with thought leaders or even writing short posts about something that you're working on. This helps position you as somebody who's knowledgeable in their field, even if you're still working on visibility within your own company. Remember that your career is not limited to the organization that you're currently working in. Your career belongs to you and it's about your entire life. And that company that you're currently working in is just a small piece of your career. Number 4 is being a connector. One of the easiest ways to build a personal brand is to be a connector, somebody who introduces colleagues to each other and brings people together for collaborative work. If someone's struggling with a project, offer to connect them with another team member who can help them. Being known as somebody who fosters collaboration and helps others is a powerful brand asset. I know how uncomfortable it can be to feel like you're promoting yourself, but it's a skill worth developing. A great resource that can help with this is a book called Brag, The Art of Tooting Your Own Horn Without Blowing It by Peggy Kloss. Kloss offers practical tips on how to talk about your achievements in a way that feels authentic and natural. This book is especially helpful for first-generation professionals who often struggle with self-promotion. She breaks down how you can own your own success, how you can communicate it, and how you can get the recognition that you deserve without coming across as boastful. Building a personal brand at work is essential, especially if you're feeling invisible. The key is to be intentional about how you show up, to communicate your value, and to find ways to stand out in a way that feels authentic to you. As first-generation professionals, we might feel uncomfortable with self-promotion. But remember, building your brand doesn't have to mean that you're bragging. It's about showing your value, contributing meaningfully, and making sure that others recognize what you're bringing to the table. So here's your challenge. Over the next week, find one opportunity to communicate your wins, whether it's sending out a project update to your manager, speaking up in a meeting, or sharing a small accomplishment with your team. Remember, if you don't advocate for yourself, no one else will. And just like that, you've received your dose of work wisdom. I hope you're walking away with something that makes you feel a little bit more confident, a little bit more seen, and a whole lot more capable. Remember that the journey is yours. There's no one right way to do it, and it's okay to take it one step at a time. If today's topic hit home for you and you're thinking you can use a little extra support, I'd love to chat one-on-one. Head over to the show notes so you can figure out how to book some time with me. And if you enjoyed hanging out with me, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future episodes. And if you're feeling a little generous, please leave a quick review. It can help more people like us find the show. Plus, I'd love to hear what you think. Let's keep the conversation going. Follow me on Instagram at WorkWiseGuide.